President, I welcome you to New York, presiding over this meeting, and thank SRSG Otunbayeva and Ms. Girawal for their briefings. President, currently, the situation in Afghanistan is stable on the whole. There has been some improvement in the economy and people's livelihood, and a gradual increase in its exchanges with the world. Meanwhile, in areas such as humanitarian development, human rights, and counterterrorism, multiple challenges persist. The international community should take an objective, impartial, rational, and pragmatic approach to the Afghan issue, strengthen unity, and build consensus to help the country get on the right track without delay and integrate it into the international community. I will make a few points. First, we should maintain engagement and dialogue with Afghanistan and enhance our understanding of and mutual trust with the country. In recent years, regional mechanisms, including Foreign Ministers' meeting of Afghanistan's neighbors, Shanghai Cooperation Organization, the Moscow format consultations in China, Afghanistan, Pakistan, trilateral Foreign Ministers' dialogue, together with the UN-led Doha process, have played a positive role in enhancing communication and exchanges between the international community and Afghanistan. However, due to various factors past and present, mutual integration between the international community and Afghanistan could only proceed step by step, and long-term commitment is required to deliver success. In this regard, active interactions and continuous engagements between the two sides are indispensable. Recently, to our concern, at the 1988 Committee, one country, on multiple occasions, repeatedly cited the detention of its citizens by Afghan authorities as the reason for blocking travel ban exemption requests for senior Afghan government officials, seriously disrupting Afghanistan's normal exchanges with the international community. Such practice plainly abused the sanctions tool of the Security Council to serve its national interests, provoking discontent among many members of the Security Council. We urge this country to change this practice immediately and once again call on the 1988 Committee to reinstate comprehensive travel ban exemption arrangements without delay. Second, we should scale up assistance and help Afghanistan tide over difficulties. It was noted in the SG's report that 23 million Afghans need humanitarian assistance and 9.5 million face severe food shortages. Significant funding cuts by major donors mean that only less than 30% of funding needs are met. The recent earthquakes in eastern Afghanistan exacerbated this humanitarian crisis. We commend UNAMA, OCHA, among other agencies, and many countries for extending a helping hand to Afghanistan. China has recently announced a donation of earthquake emergency humanitarian supplies of 50 million yuan to Afghanistan. Given these huge humanitarian needs, we call upon traditional donors to scale up their funding support and stop politicizing humanitarian relief. We call on a certain country to assume its historical responsibilities, resume aid to Afghans, halt unilateral sanctions, and provide necessary support for humanitarian action. Third, we should strengthen positive guidance and promote the protection of the rights and interests of the Afghan people. Women account for nearly half of the Afghan population. Securing their equal access to education, healthcare, employment, and participation in public affairs is imperative for Afghans' peace, stability, development, and prosperity, and to meet the expectations of the international community. We call on the Afghan government to exercise moderate and inclusive governance and put in place effective measures to safeguard the basic rights and interests of all Afghans, including women. UNAMA has recently issued a statement expressing concern over the Afghan government's prevention of Afghan women from working for the United Nations. We call on the government of Afghanistan to strengthen friendly consultations with UNAMA to properly resolve such issues and ensure the normal functioning of UN agencies and UN humanitarian relief work in Afghanistan. Fourth, we should remove any obstacles to development and support Afghanistan's indigenous development. The Afghan government has recently launched its national development strategy, actively promoting economic reconstruction and integration into regional cooperation. That said, the SG's report identifies economic isolation and limited access to financing, among others, as significant constraints on Afghan's economic growth. We call on relevant countries to unconditionally return the Afghan central bank's overseas assets and support the reconstruction of its financial system so it can unlock its development potential. We support Afghanistan in further strengthening connectivity and economic and trade cooperation with regional countries. We expect the two working groups of the Doha process to play a greater role in helping Afghanistan boost its economic dynamism, promote alternative cultivation, treat and rehabilitate drug users, sustain the development momentum, and build on the counter-narcotic achievements. Fifth, we should strengthen counterterrorism efforts and maintain security in Afghanistan and the region. The SG's report states that terrorist threats in Afghanistan remain prominent. ISIL-Khorasan, ETIM and TTP, among other terrorist groups, remain active in Afghanistan and have conspired with foreign terrorist elements to plan and launch attacks, undermining Afghan and regional security. We call on the Afghan government to enhance counterterrorism efforts and coordination with regional countries and prevent terrorist organizations from exploiting Afghan territory to undermine the security of other countries. When it comes to counterterrorism, we must stand firmly against double standards and selectivity and must maintain international cooperation in combating terrorism. President, since assuming office, SRSG Otunbayeva has led UNAMA in pushing for engagement and dialogue between Afghan authorities and the international community, responding to humanitarian and development crises and protecting the basic rights and interests of the Afghan people. We highly commend her efforts and contributions and wish her all the best in the future. As a friendly neighbor of Afghanistan, China stands ready to continue working with all parties, including UNAMA, to promote peace, development, and lasting order and stability in Afghanistan. I thank you, President.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that we will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest newsmakers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry guards.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.